So we haven't done a video in a while. Obviously with everything that's been going on, things have been a little weird and hectic here. We've been doing a lot of canning, we've been doing crowlers, we've been doing all sorts of things that we weren't really planning on doing yet.
But today we finally have a few minutes to do something kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a Friday afternoon, all the beer's carved in tanks, ready for Monday's canning run. And so we're drinking old Berliner Weiss.
Little by slowly, batch number 2. So
yeah.
This is no boil, Berliner, 3-ish%, pills, malted wheat and chit.
Yeah, pretty much it. And as far as Berliner Weisses go, it's an interesting one. It's got a German strain of Brettanomyces, it's mixed ferment, lactobacillus, not kettle soured. But we, on beers like this, get a lot of beer. So rather than something like 14 or 15 kegs of an IPA, we got like 21 or 22 of this.
There's not a lot of losses to a bunch of dry hopping and hardly any losses in the kettle.
Yeah, you're not boiling, so you don't have any evaporation.
And because you don't boil, you get sort of like a doughy kind of graininess to it that a little bit of lemon funk kind of goes together.
It's such a, Berliner Weiss is such a boring style. We've got nothing against kettle sours. We're canning one on Monday that's got raspberries and vanilla and lime, and when you're throwing all those flavors at something, you don't really need much complexity on the back end in the base beer. But for a Berliner Weiss, if you're not adding a lot of fruit to it or something, that's when that no boil and that Brett really sort of shine through. But we have a lot of it, and so the plan is to have a little competition. One of the things we do here at the brewery from time to time, basically every week, is to take one of the beers that we already have and infuse it, flavor it, a special dry hop version, a chocolate stout, a peanut butter IPA, a jalapeno, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, basically we call them variants, right? And so you're taking beer that's fermented, carbed, packaged, and you're essentially jumping it into another keg with whatever.
Yeah. So usually we've got sort of a collaborative effort. We talk about what ingredients will go into a variant. We'll order in advance from a spice store or from a brewing supplier, or just go to the supermarket and get a couple limes or whatever's in season, whatever's fresh. But today we're having a little challenge. We've both got $10.
I got 10.
And we're heading over to dollar store, Dollar Tree, and each of us can buy whatever we want to make 5 gallons of beer. So Berliner Weiss sour beer probably plays well with fruit flavors. It might play well with maybe herbs or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot going on, so hopefully the $10 limit doesn't hold us back too much, because you don't need a lot of something else to show in a beer like this.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing we found is that the more characterful a beer is, Imperial Stout with loads of roast takes a lot more to flavor it and to come through than a 5% brown ale or something like that.
But I haven't been to a dollar store in a while, and I'm a little nervous. All I'm going to find is a can of beans and black pepper, so we'll see.
We may be re-recording this intro if it really doesn't work out. But the idea is that we'll each have almost a week to make this happen. Probably for next Thursday, we'll have both beers on tap. People can come in, try them, vote on the beers, probably through Untappd or another beer rating website, and whoever wins gets to drink a beer.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the prize.
Yeah. And the loser gets fired.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah.
Let's go shopping.
Let's go shopping. So we had a successful trip to the dollar store. They had a lot of choices there. We were eyeballing what they had, non-alcoholic sangria. They had...
that was literally $1. Everything was literally $1.
Yeah, this is one of the dollar stores where everything is really $1 or less.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. It's not the normal kind of ingredients we're accustomed to using. If we're making a fruit beer, we usually are buying fresh fruit from a local farm, or getting 100% raspberry puree or apple cider or something like that. And not a lot of pure single ingredient kind of things
Not a lot
at
of
the
like
dollars.
real food, I guess you
Yeah,
could say.
yeah, a lot of processed stuff, but honestly, like some of those flavors are fun. You know, I think we all remember being a kid and having juice blends and you know, things that are probably you know, juice in almost name only, and sometimes those flavors can really bring you back to that, you know, that summer at soccer camp or that friend's
Yeah.
house whose mom would always let you drink lemon lime Gatorade.
Yeah, in fact,
or,
I even have one with, not this beer, but the one that I put together is like a flashback memory with that one.
Yeah, and so I looked at the sangria, I looked at a couple other things, and I ended up going with 4 things of mango nectar. It was 20% mango puree, and then water and sugar and whatever. And then I got vanilla flavoring. So obviously probably something made from wood pulp or something. It certainly smelled a little bit more like root beer
Definitely
than...
had a root beer smell to it.
But my thought was, you know, sort of Berliner Weiss is really dry. It's got some acidity, and having some fruitiness and some sweetness is a pretty easy sell. And then the vanilla to add maybe a little creaminess, you know, maybe cover up for the fact that the fruit wasn't as punchy as I wanted it to be. The mango juice tended to be a little, like, kind of reminded me of canned tuna when I opened it a little bit. So it wasn't maybe exactly what I was hoping.
It doesn't smell like that in there.
No, and I think it was just probably that pasteurized carton kind of thing.
Yeah, we were just had a little sip off before we started recording, and it's kind of weird that it reminds me a little bit of a Tootsie Roll Pop. It's
You know, I
like a
can
little
see
bit
that.
of like a chocolate thing in the back end.
Yeah, I mean, I think chocolate and vanilla are so linked, and then having that darker flavor, whatever that woodiness I think is probably. And honestly, like Tootsie Roll Pop has sort of a light fruitiness to a non-specific fruitiness
Yeah.
normally. I could certainly see, yeah.
A candied fruitiness.
Yeah. So this was about 1 gallon of juice in 4 gallons of beer, so for a 5-gallon total. And that's about what we've found if you want to make just sort of like one of these like fruit juice bombs. That's a generally a good place to start. So what was your thought process? What did anything else catch your eye while you were walking around?
I'll admit that I was thinking about this the night prior. I've hit the mother load. And using Mr. Freezy's came to mind right away, which I was a little bummed when we first walked around for about 20 minutes. I couldn't find them.
Yep.
But you can find whatever you want at a dollar store if you look long enough. And found 7 boxes of Mr. Freezy's.
I'm sorry, I think they were like generic.
Oh, they're Italian ice, I believe.
Generic Italian ice, free style pops.
And so I bought them out. So I'm sorry to any little kid that was going in that date for that reason.
And these were like
multi-flavored.
Yeah.
There's watermelon, cherry.
was there like a lemon or something like that?
And ended up just using them all. I was going to try to use all the. I wanted to use more cherry, get a color kind of like this, and so I was afraid I wouldn't have enough because they're 12-ounce boxes or something, and so it's hard to get every last drip out of some of those, and so I ended up getting those like Kool-Aid burst things too, just to kind of dose in for some color, and honestly, I think probably that cherry flavor is kind of the same.
Probably from the same vat.
Yeah. So it was about 15% of the beer, which is not crazy for something like that. And
in both cases, though, it's amazing how much sweetness there is when you're diluting it down that far. I don't know about you, like I don't drink a lot of soda, I don't drink a lot of Kool-Aid or High C anymore, and it's. I guess I've gotten more sensitive to like simple sugars, to glucose and sucrose, because those are so rarely in beer.
But it definitely kind of is as advertised here. This tastes like to me, I can't not call it Mr. Freezy's. That's what it was when I was growing up. My dad had like an old wine, 1-gallon wine jug that he would always keep in their bedroom, and it was like where he would put his change in every day.
Okay.
And so despite filling it, it never got full because of me. But I would take 50 cents every time I had a baseball game, and I would buy a jumbo Mr. Freezy afterwards. And so when I'm drinking this, it's like right where my mind goes.
Yeah, to me, like the cherry and the watermelon are sort of the two that lead. I was surprised because there wasn't a lot of watermelon that went into it, but that flavor is just so
Yeah, it really
artificial
kind of-
watermelon,
peaks
whatever
a
it
little.
is. Yeah.
And the tartness of the base beer kind of helps with it a little bit too.
Yeah. I think acidity always helps to sell fruit or fruity flavors because fruit is so acidic. The color's nice. Honestly, I'm surprised the head retention's that good. Both of these are only about 2.9% alcohol because we started at 3.4 and diluted down. Yeah, so people come in today, they can get half pours of both of them. And then I guess we'll be back tomorrow or the next day and declare the winner and see whose car gets washed or
Oh, is that the
who gets the last 6 peanuts that you saved from
Oh,
your.
no, I actually just before we started. That's
Scott got cocky and didn't spend his whole $10, so he was buying snacks for himself.
Why not?
All right.
Watch the headlights.
Well, we already got made fun of by another local brewer, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him to take on the winner.
Yeah, vending machine snacks only or something. I'm not sure we're allowed to go to a vending machine place.